feel that final note, huh? That's beautiful. Well done. Thank you. Good morning. And get to share a little bit of truth, just a little bit of truth with you. That's the title of the talk today, and I can't help but bring some of my influence from the yoga realm. I spoke at 9 o'clock a lot about Gandhi and his concept and his dedication to truth, and he used the word, and it's a Sanskrit word, satya, S-A-T-Y-A, and sat is just the purity, the truth itself, and he lived by that. And there's this idea of satya. It's in the Vedic text, and it's a concept from Patanjali, so it goes way back in the holy scriptures from that Vedic time period, and it's truth, satya, truth. It's about bringing sincerity and integrity to all expressions. It's about approaching the world with pure intentions. It means to speak the truth with the spirit of kindness. It means communicating from the heart. Truth. We all do it. We all do it, and we all know when we're doing it, when we speak from our heart. Not when we're speaking from the emotion of anger or self-pity or wanting to be right. None of those moments are pure truth. It's when we speak from our heart. It's when we speak forgiveness is a moment of truth, when we speak that. Sai Baba says, before you speak, ask yourselves, is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? Does it improve on the silence? That's been a wisdom that I met when I was 18, and I thought that was so incredible. When I'm about to, but will it improve on the silence? Will it even improve on the tension in the room if I say one more word? And I have to really evaluate that before truth is spoken. So truth, I invite you to explore your understanding of what truth is for you, because only you can know truth. It's sort of odd that I would be asking you and mentioning to you, you can't have anybody tell you what truth is and then stand up here and ask for your attention. Pay attention to me as I tell you about truth, but don't listen to anybody about truth. It makes no real sense. But I wanted to just keep pointing to you in different areas for you to explore your own heart. That's the beauty of our philosophy. That's the beauty of our teaching, isn't it? To continue to look at all the sacred scriptures, all the holy words that have ever been spoken, and to distill them into your own heart, into your own experience. And that's what Gandhi did. So he did experiments with truth. And he wouldn't just take the word. He wouldn't just take a word. He worked it. He tooled it until it became his soul force, he describes it. So you already live by many of these truths. It is already your soul force. That's a given. That's a given, or you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be such a free spirit and take on this philosophy to know that you can then go into any sacred hall and be comfortable because you know your truth and you're able to stand in that truth. So one of my teachers that I've been studying, Mark Nepo, he has this great wisdom to share on the reliable truths. He starts with his chapter by a quote from Henry Miller. I know what the cure is. It is to give up, to relinquish, to surrender, so that our own little hearts may beat in unison with the great heart of the world. That's what truth is. We have to give up being right about what we think is true. So think about some of these things. He starts off, as people speak different languages from all over the world while standing on the same earth, people speak different truths while standing on the ground of all truth. I think that's brilliant. As personalized as each journey is, we all touch the same foundational truth of existence. But ultimately, no one can tell you, except Reverend Sue, what truth is. Can you believe it said that? It caught my eye too. I just didn't want you guys to drift off. But we do need to discover it and feel like what is it that we believe for ourselves? And so often, and you know what, I was looking at this, I was realizing, today more than ever, we used to have just like Walter Cronkite give us the news, but now isn't there a panel of people? First you hear something and then everybody comes out and there's these heads waiting to talk. Waiting their turn to talk. The commentator will invite the question and everybody's waiting to talk. And I'm thinking, who would I be without all of that information? I wonder what my idea would be. And so it's just kind of watch that. Put them on mute and just watch them. Expound what they think is the truth, but really walk away with the question in your mind with whatever's been presented and find a soul force truth with that. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I keep seeing, I guess I'm looking at you guys with heads moving. So and it's an interesting experiment to really decide. I know Reverend Mary's done this and Diana's done it in her classes, and I'm sure you've done it too, Chris, where you don't take the word. You take it and you say, okay, these are the things that the Center for Spiritual Living, these are the principles we believe in. Now, rewrite them a way that you can believe. And sometimes it's a whole new story that comes from those intentional beliefs, that we summarize things in a certain way, but then the invitation is always for you to take it into your perceptual field, to hone it into your own heart, and to create your own pearls, and then to live by it. That's the integrity. To know your truth and then to live by it, right? That's the time. When we do that, aren't we happy? I'm doing this retreat in January, and I've been telling my kids and Charlie that there's this whole amazing, you guys got to meet her, Imaginary Sue. She drinks enough water. She exercises every day. She eats just the purest foods. She's amazing. And she looks marvelous in whatever she wears. She's really cool. So I'm going to bring her forth in 2018. We're going to watch for her to emerge as I retire from work. I can't wait to meet her myself. She's really strong. She has great wisdom right at midnight when you're trying to follow it. Tomorrow, my dear one, you will. Yes, I will. Yes, I will, my Imaginary Sue. And then I do my same habits when I get up. Okay, that's it. That's my truth. No, I'm looking forward to that, though, actually, to be the best wife ever, Charlie. Can't you wait? I had my, this is a little bit embarrassing because I kept whining because I've worked at the hospital for 40 years, and they kept saying, I kept telling them, what do you do for somebody when they've worked 40 years? Nothing, really. There was a catalog, no. But there was, no. No. And I thought, nothing. So I kept whining about, they don't do anything anymore. So the people I work with in my department gave me a big party. And then I got embarrassed. Oh, you shouldn't have. Oh, a party. Oh. Presents. Oh. Yeah, Kim was a part of that. She made me a beautiful necklace because I work in the heart, and it was a little heart rhythm. So cute. Anyway, it was the most fabulous time. So then anytime people said, after that, oh, I heard about your 40th, and they're talking about our 40th celebration in February here, but it was all about me this week. Oh, yeah, 40 years. And they're going, what are you talking about? I kept thinking, I thought everything was referencing me from that moment on. So the next time you hear 40th, it isn't about me. It's about our 40th celebration of being a Center for Spiritual Living in Redding. So I just want to be real clear on that. Get outside myself. Where am I going? You know what's funny? What I'm saying, where am I going? You know what this says? When lost. That's the next subtitle, When Lost. What does it say? And when I can't find any words of truth, or I rely on... So anyway, well, I want to go back to truth. I want to go back into that idea. So again, I invite you to explore what is true for you, and then align yourself with that, and be in integrity with that. And what a great life you'll live. What a great experience you will have in this world. I share some of the wisdom also of Ernest Holmes on this. He aligned so brilliantly with Gandhi's idea of satya, of truth, of the pure moment of living in truth. And there is something that Ernest Holmes says here: there is but one final truth of reality, but it is always present in itself with various forms of itself. The Christ within us is the source of that truth. So stay in truth. Maintain a consistent, positive mental attitude to the truth. To desert from the truth are the times, in those times when we really need to dwell within it. When we desert it, that's when we suffer. When we don't live in our truth, that's when we suffer. Ernest Holmes says the eternal has placed himself at the very center of man's being in order that man may function individually. This discovery of this is the greatest truth about man, the greatest discovery, knowing that the eternal one dwells within you as you. You can name it many things. I listen to some of the conversations in our household. I have many a family with me right now, in which I absolutely relish and adore and love in every way, all from different ideas of what truth is. What is that? What is that grace? What is that love? What is that nameless? How shall I name it in the conversation when we have to go to a minister's house? You know, it's a challenge. But I love the conversations because they all talk about the one from their perception, from their field of knowing, and they're talking about the field of grace. The conscious mind of man is that part of us, or the unity with the Supreme Spirit, which enables man to be an individual unit. We're all individualized souls. We can be separate in our identity without becoming separate from this wholeness. That is the beauty of this knowing. When you recognize that, you don't have to buy in any dogma. No dogma here. There's lots of spiritual principles for you to taste, to savor, to deny. Say, that's not mine. That doesn't work for me. So all religions teach this truth, but it means nothing to us, nothing, until it becomes our truth. And we only can find that when we allow it to become a spiritual experience. So we shall never know truth until we become truth done through us. Truth is simple and direct. If we were blind leading the blind, we'd all fall in a ditch. Now that's from the Bible. Blind leading the blind. The invitation starts there. Don't just take it for the word itself. Go understand that it is your truth, and it is a principle that you can live by. And then you need to be careful what kind of thoughts that you decide to follow. Test everything. Test it all. That's what Gandhi did. Tested everything until he became so empowered, so fearless, that he could stand in front of his enemies without any fear and offer no harm, no cursing, no harm. Can you imagine the moment of being shot, instead of cursing, saying God's name upon his lips? Rama. So conscious, so spiritually tooled, and so established in his practice, he knew that there's only one. He never said, whatever was before him, he was one with. And that is a goal. That is a goal for all of us to strive for. So you don't want to just accept a principle or a philosophy because it sounds right. That sounds kind of good. Sounds good. Kind of like a diet. Sounds like it might work. I'll try it for a week. You want to make sure that your truth leave you with a taste of feeling positive, that you don't have to fight for your truth, right? You want to make sure your truth is sure of itself and doesn't cause arguments. You can speak your truth and just be just fine with someone else's. That's a challenge. I gotta bite my lip sometimes. But if you can establish that poise, that calm in knowing that your truth is your truth, it'll prevail through all of the conversations, and you have nothing to prove. It is sure of itself and never argumentative. It loves sincerity and abhors deceit. These are Ernest Holmes' words. Truth is wise. It represents the all-seeing eye from which nothing is hidden. The student of truth will receive all that comes from the name of the Lord, that is, all that is of truth, and all else will fall away. What is the Lord? The Lord is that place of the Christ Center, the knowing inside of you where that truth resides, where the supreme knowing is. And when we connect with that through spiritual practice, through silence, through the avenue of silence, the only true conversation comes from that depth of silence, right? The depths of silence. So we experiment with truth, and we find that as we do so, we become empowered with that truth. We find what works and what doesn't work, and we apply it to all our spiritual and moral ways of being in the world. To take anything just on blind faith can lead us in the wrong direction. Gandhi reminds us to try certain principles, and when you find that they're true, establish yourself in that truth, but don't recommend anything to others until you have tried it yourself. Oh, really? There's yoga poses that I could never do, so I've never taught them. But I find other people that know how to do them and have them demonstrate and teach for those that want to know that. I'm not going to limit somebody because I don't know something or I can't do something. See, that's my way. I'll find somebody else that can, and I'll raise them up. Say, can you do it for them? I think some people want to know this. That's how you find and work with truth. And you keep practicing it. You act on what you know to be true. That's what Gandhi did. As you expound your truth, are you really practicing it? When you profess peace, are you living peace? Ask yourself that. We want peace in our world, but are we living peace in every moment, in every conversation with another? Are we finding that unified field? This has to be the basis of deep truth. Divine truth pulses through the universe. I love this idea. It pulses through the universe. We call it love. We call it a web of connection that binds us all. Truth. The deep truth of the Vedic scriptures, of the Bible, of every holy text. It binds us all. The challenge for all of us is to unravel the truth and understand what it means to you. We can have perceptions. I'm so glad right now this water's here. Everybody, if you've got your water, take a moment with me. Haven't you ever been, haven't you been that way and somebody drinking and they're going, wish I had something. I'm feeling as dry as she. Thank you. That felt good. So find what resonates with your heart and speak that truth. You're guided to listen to the truth of your own soul. It's time to believe your own soul and take your action. Oh, action? Have to do something? You do. To live your truth, you have to act upon it. So open up and be honest. Find a way to share your truth. And so I bring in the ideas here also from Mark Nepo. Because remember when I said we can get that panel of people we can start thinking that they're wiser than we are, and we start to maybe just go by what they're saying because it has some logic behind it, but maybe it's not our truth, right? It's a lot in politics right now. So we look at this. I found this really interesting. This was from, there was a time, the faithfulness of the magnificent Impressionist Claude Monet. He lived from 1840 to 1926. There was this question to what he felt and saw. What was he painting? And toward the end of his life, Monet developed double cataracts. Did you guys know that? Double cataracts. He painted right up till the end. He painted his famous water lilies through the film of his cataracts. He tried to restore his sight and volunteered to have one of the very first cataract surgeries, but it didn't work. Monet seldom spoke about his work, and rarely did he give an interview. So in his later years, he was so famous throughout the world that people were publishing complex interpretations of his work. He never told anybody, but they were interpreting his work. This prompted the aging painter to finally break his silence, and he granted a single interview. When the journalists came all the way to hear him, they came miles and miles to hear him, and all he said was, "There is no interpretation. I simply paint what I see." I paint what I see. And he ended the interview. I love that, because in that library there, we have some beautiful Bibles that people have donated, and then a whole shelf, a whole bunch of interpretations of that. That's fun to read. It's fun to explore. But what does the Word, what does the Scripture say to you? Can you find that first and then see what else is out there? So this whole idea, I think about the holy men, the wise men, the soothsayers, they studied the stars, they studied the way, they were intuitives, psychics maybe. They were wise men, and they heard about the star. And so they start following the star, and they were leading their way to find there was something. And where were they finding this divine urge? They were listening to a truth that dwelled within them, the still small voice that came out of the depths of their silence in their spiritual practice, I'm sure. And they heard this leading towards something holy happening. And they led him through Jerusalem, and there's King Herod, right? And he's saying, "Say what? What's going on over there? Somebody's going to get my spiel? I don't. What's going on over there? Go there and find out." And they're going, "Sure," and they take their gifts and they continue on their journey. And King Herod says, "Come back, though. Come back and tell me. Tell me about what you see." I so want to know. I so want to honor it myself, but not really. He wanted to do something to undermine it. So there go the holy men. They do what we all know. They bring their gifts. They bow to their knees. They see the idea of the holiness there in the manger. They see the mother. They see the light. They see the truth. They feel the Christ. And what did they do with that? They didn't listen to the dictate of someone outside of them that was ordering them to come back. They listened to the still small voice within, their wisdom, and they went on their way. And they took their truth with them. They did not go back to King Herod. And I look at that story and I'm thinking, that Christmas story, that birth is so filled with analogies and possibilities for each and every one of us to live our truth, to continue to walk our walk, because we've experimented with our truth and we allow ourselves to live in that truth. We are open and honest to that truth. So there's this idea of them all returning to their own land. They obeyed the dictates of their own heart and their vision, and they learned to live and listen to their own truth, and they acted accordingly to live in that truth. They did that so amazingly, powerfully, that they got a big part in the Bible. They're in all our little nativity scenes. 3 wise men. Why? Because of their wisdom and their truth. There's a author named John McAfee, and he talks about truth as well. If you watch the process of perception in yourself, and you find that every experience and act and sensation that comes to your awareness is first being filtered through the background of your own conditioning. We have hammered that on into you. Everything that you experience is from your own conditioning. So experience is interpreted as it happens, and our interpretations are based on our unique system of belief, fear, craving, and anticipations, and in our experiences in similar situations. So we keep relying on that. We cannot come to the truth until we see our conditioning and dissolve it. There's the work. That's the invitation we have from our center into you, is to come, to find yourself here. Find your conditioning that no longer works for you. Dissolve it, and there'll be a truth that holds you up. You too will be your true self in 2018. This awareness of truth exists beyond our personal experience. It is something that holds us, guides us, bathes us, directs us, holds us, heals us, loves us. It's a truth. It's a truth. And when you are on this holy day and into this evening, I really do hope you come back and enjoy the music. There's no better way than to open your heart into this season. If you're feeling a little bit overdone, like I was a little bit this week, a little bit overdone. I'd bought the earrings for the people I work with months ago. And then I'm watching one of them say, I can never wear earrings. I just can't wear, and what? You're getting them anyway. Now, but I thought, dang it, I have to go out and buy something else. So all of a sudden I thought, I hate Christmas, and I was like, no, I don't. I love Christmas. Get over it. I just started whining. But I come back to the truth. It's not about the gifts, it's about the love. It's about the love and the affection that we have for each other and awakening that from within. It's a medicine. It's a medicine, and we're taking this medicine to get a greater understanding at any moment. Truth surrounds us, just like the air. It's always there. No one can tell us what this air is, like the fish swimming in the water saying, what's water? What's truth? It's right here. Discover it for yourself. Feel it. Feel what's true. You'll know it. Tears will flow. Heart will open. You'll find gratitude in moments you weren't feeling so. Satya. Bring sincerity and integrity to all that you do. And I close with the wisdom of Ernest Holmes. Because he talked about this mystical idea of the Christ, this sonship. And he writes, and I shared this with the other service, but I find his conclusion a brilliant way to draw this to a close. All the world needs is spiritual conviction, followed by your spiritual experience. I'd rather see a student of the science prove its principle than to have him repeat all the words of wisdom that have ever been uttered. It is far easier to teach the truth than it is to practice it. But the practice of truth is so personal to each and every one of you. In the long run, no one can live our life for us. To each it is given what he needs, and the gifts of heaven come alike to all. How we shall use these gifts is all that matters. To hold one's thoughts steadfastly to the constructive, to that which endures, and to the truth may not be easy in a rapidly changing world, but to the one who makes the attempt, much is granted. The essence of spiritual mind healing and all the true religious philosophy is an inner realization of the presence of perfection within, around, and about. It is the hope of the heaven, the voice of God proclaiming, I am that which thou art that which I am. And there was, as I listened to the beautiful music, thank you, Judy, there is a moment where the students came before the teacher and they asked for the final truth. They wanted to know the ultimate truth, the ultimate truth. And the teacher said, okay, I'll give it to you. And it was silent. And they walked away. Silence. In the silence, in your silence, you'll find your truth. You'll find it. It'll be yours. Then live it. So we'll do a treatment to feel the holiness of this moment. We're in the community. We're in a community of seekers, each with our own perception. But our hearts dwell in the one. in the one truth, in the one love. And there we find our refuge. There we enter into the silence and we listen. We listen, listen, listen to our hearts. We feel what we need to feel. We listen. There's only one love, one truth. It holds us all. And I recognize that we're on a journey, and each one of us is walking with careful steps, tending to our word, tending to that truth, becoming ambassadors of that truth, and peace prevails. So I give thanks for your attention here today, for your willingness to simply listen and then take it into your own silence and find your truth. I give thanks for each and every one of you throughout this year, for your holy walk, for your consistency in being. We are one. I release this knowing that we enter this season now, blessed and sure of ourselves. We walk in truth, and so it is. Thank you.